Ritu ma'am, please unmute. There is some voice here. Okay.
Okay. Okay, Vinith.
Yes. A very good afternoon to everyone. I am Dr. Vinit Kumar Jha. Take this privilege to warmly welcome all of our delegates on the first technical session of the first day of National Conference on Innovation in Management Technology and Communication under the Institution's Innovation Council, IIMT College of Management, Greater Noida. Now, let us take Narayan sir, please, video. Thank you, Narayan sir. Now I welcome our three guest of honor, Mr. Gautam Gopal. Sir, I welcome you. Dr. Gopal is Director, BD and Marketing Talent, Blazer. And second, our special guest, Mr. Nikhil Tarar, Data Scientist. He is Mapping Skills Private Limited. I welcome Dr. Nikhil sir. I also welcome our chief guest, Professor Ritu Sood, ma'am. She is Dean of School of SMFE and Sarda University. Professor Ritu Sood is an alumni of AJ Communication Mass Communication Research Center, Jamia Millia Islamia. She has professional career as a senior correspondent with NSK Radio and Television Network of Japan. She has worked and filmed at the grassroots levels of several states of India with national NGO and international organization committee to eradicate child servitude and gender insensitivity with special attention to the protection of children and marginalized segment of society. I welcome Dr. Sood also. Now I start just our technical session of first day. There are several participants who want to present their paper. So now I call Mr. Abdul Fahad, Department of Media and Communication Studies, Faculty of Arts and Social Science, University of Malaya, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. His topic is the impact of social media on adolescents in India. Now, floor is yours.
Thank you so much for giving me a chance to present my paper on social media and adolescence. So, myself, Abdul Fahad, I am from University of Malaya, Kuala Lumpur. and I just started my presentation.
Vinesh sir, Vinesh sir, Vinesh sir.
Yes, Ramshankar sir.
सर प्लीज वेलकम नोट के लिए मिस्टर अमित शर्मा सर एचओडी को आप इनवाइट करेंगे उसके बाद में आप पेपर प्रेजेंटेशन होगा प्लीज
Yes, 1 second, Abdul sir. Just
Okay.
now I call Mr. Amit Sharma sir, HOD of Journalism and Mass Communication, IIMT College of Management, Greater Noida. So Amit Sharma sir.
Thanks a lot, Dr. Vineet sir. A very good afternoon to all. Myself is Amit Sharma. I am HOD of Journalism and Mass Communication Department here. It is an honor and privilege for me to welcome you all on behalf of IIC, Institutions Innovation Council of IIMT College of Management, to this technical session of National Conference on Innovation in Management, Technology and Communication. First of all, I would like to extend my deep appreciation to the chief guest of this session, Professor Dr. Ritu S. Toor, who is Dean in the School of Media, Film and Entertainment in Sharda University, Greater Noida. She, having experience of more than 30 years, she has a blend of academics and industries in this area of journalism and mass communication. I can assure you from her side that all of you are going to enrich your soul when she will share her experience with you. Welcome, ma'am. Then I would like to extend you a very warm welcome to our guest of honor, Mr. Gautam Gopal, Director, BD and Marketing in Talent Blazer. He has a versatile experience of manufacturing, real estate, banking, e-commerce at senior management level. He has seen in front of him the changing trends in technology and management in different sectors and must be able to deliver a new insight to innovation. Welcome, sir. Welcome, Mr. Gautam Gopal. It gives me a great pleasure to welcome our special guest, Mr. Nikhil Tarar. He is data scientist in Massive Skill Limited. Mr. Nikhil is a man of wisdom who has experienced innovations in technology and communication, and today he is going to present his view in new innovations. Welcome, sir. Welcome, Mr. Nikhil. And last but not the least, I am welcoming all the participants who have gathered here online from all over the country to present their papers in the national conference. I hope that this national conference on innovations in management, technology and communication will give a new insight to see the present scenario and find out solutions with new innovation. Thanks to all. Vinayji, over to you.
I am very sorry, Amit sir. Just one step forward. So thank you, Amit sir, for your cooperation. Now I request Abdul Faz to present your paper. Yes.
Hi. Okay, my topic is the impact of social media on adolescence in India. Okay, so if we are talking about social media is a fast-growing phenomena in India as more adolescent Indians are getting access to smartphone and internet. With more than 250 million social media users, India has the second highest number of social media users in the world. Majority of the Indian social media users access social media through mobiles. Instagram and WhatsApp are the more popular between the Indian adolescents, like in Delhi and Mumbai. Majority of adolescents use internet more than 5 hours in a day, and majority of the social media users use the Instagram and WhatsApp very much. About 2/3 of Indian adolescents perceive addiction to social media. Loss of privacy, fake news, cyberbullying as a potential risk of social media. Social media addiction causes psychological and emotional stress among young people, especially adolescents, affecting their overall health and well-being. In the digital era, social media has enormous potential to promote civic engagement. Social intelligence can solve some of the toughest problems of humanity. It needs thrust from research and development. Social media is an effective tool for raising social awareness and sensitize the Indian adolescent in social, cultural, civic sense, political, and environmental aspects. Social media have some positive as well as negative impacts. If we are talking about the positive impacts, then there are perpetually many things for everybody on social media. But some of the major positive impacts on social media on adolescents are employment generation. Social media creates employment through its context, improves writing skills as well as political involvement. It strengthens the concept of citizen journalism. Citizen journalism is a concept everyone have react like a journalist and spread the news through the social media, like the Laden news from Afghanistan, first by tweeted by some local, and advertisement and promoting work, knowledge, increased participation in social works and communication. Also have some psychological impacts of social media. These are the major positive psychological impacts. Attention to those deprived of it, acquiring knowledge and with entertainment, exploring and developing interest, relaxes, more social support, make one realize others share the same problems, gateway to creativity. Also have some negative impact of social media. Social media addiction is that the leading cause of many issues that will the utility of social media debatable. Some major negative impact of social media on adolescents' lives: wastage of time, privacy, cybercrimes, lethargic, explicit content, glamorizes drug and alcohol, rumors and false news, and also have some psychological negative impacts of social media on adolescents. They are like poor social skills outside virtual world, social media depression, restlessness, destruction, antisocial behavior, narcissism, unclear opinion, normalizing violence, and provocative content. The whole paper is conclusion of the whole paper are the data analysis undertaken, and therefore the observations made during the research show that while there are some serious negative impacts on Indian adolescents arising out of social media, that's required to be taken care of with the almost sincerity. The positive impact of social media outweigh all the negative ones. To end the negative impacts of social media, the Indian adolescents require an addiction and guidance on social media addiction and its harmful implications. The importance of social media in today's world is unparalleled, and therefore the negative impacts of social media solely depend on individuals' usage behavior. If used wisely, social media can benefit adolescents in a number of the ways.
Good evening, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Very thank you.
Hello, Anji sir. Good evening.
Very
Sir?
thank you.
We need a drone shoot. Okay, sir. कहाँ पे?
Hello. Yes, faster, keep it up. Yes, faster.
Yeah, as for the time you given me 4 minutes, so I conclude.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, okay. Now our next speaker is Mr. S. Kiran Kumar God. Kiran Kumar is here. Yes, Kiran Kumar, are you listening me? Us? Kiran God. He's on hold. Okay. Kiran God. Okay. Monisha Kadri is here. Monisha Kadri.
Yes, exactly. Good evening. Good evening,
Okay.
sir. Good evening to all of you.
Umar Iqbal.
Yes, it's my guide, Dr. Munisa Kadri, and my name is Umar Iqbal.
Okay, thank you. Umar Iqbal is from Department of Journalism and Mass Communication, Islamic University of Science and Technology, Avantipura, Jammu and Kashmir. His topic is digital influence of teaching learning due to outbreak of COVID-19 pandemic. Impact
Yes.
assessment on students and teachers in Jammu and Kashmir. I welcome you. Now floor is for you.
Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to present our paper. The title of our paper is Digital Influence of Teaching Learning Due to Outbreak of COVID-19 Pandemic. It's an impact assessment on students and teachers in Jammu and Kashmir. So let me talk about the main introduction. Almost every human life uses the technology to survive, and the universe is running within the ambit of technology instead of an individual's brain. Technology is being adopted by all and varied, no matter religion, region, and literate or illiterate. The outbreak of COVID-19 pandemic continuous lockdown forced all the institutions to shut to separate prevent of the virus. In response thereto, online education through education apps was adopted by the entire world as a response to fill the void created because of the closure of educational institutions. Countries across the globe have different infection rates, and there are quite 1.2 billion children in 186 countries out of classrooms stricken by the closure of faculties because of the pandemic. In India, when lockdown was announced at the top of the March 2020, the colleges were wrapping up the 2019-20 year. It became impossible to resume in school classrooms or the session for the new school year. The private and schools practiced their digital capacities and got ready for conducting of online classes, and the same was followed by the government run schools because they were encouraged by the private schools. Many academicians and also the experts expressed their concerns about what the web education system, where the students need to be at reception and to be told from the web classes. In Jammu and Kashmir, the erstwhile state of India, now a union territory, students struggled for 4G internet services. In keeping with internet shutdown tracker, internet shutdown was imposed on 4th August 2019 in Jammu and Kashmir when the Article 370 of the Constitution was abrogated by the Parliament of the India. There was a preventive shutdown imposed within the state, which was lifted almost after 213 days. The internet was shut for nearly 213 days, the longest internet shutdown, because of the preventive shutdowns of schools and colleges by the government aftermath of abrogation of articles, and then thanks to pandemic, it has been found that students of Jammu and Kashmir are the worst hit. The shortage of internet and therefore the 2G speed. When the ban on internet was lifted, then we were only allowed to use the 2G internet services. That added to the sufferings of students in Jammu and Kashmir. Now, there's a literature review behind this study. Why I did this study? These papers are here. Azi Haq and Shimus 2020 Shahzad et al. Finds out the dramatic changes within the education by rise of online learning and teaching, wherein digital platforms are being employed for the teaching, and most of the upper education system is working through the e-learning. Adams and et al. And Chopra et al. In their study observed that e-learning is enhancing students' knowledge, even the educational staff, and professional and industry people's skills through the web. Most of the academic institutions are providing online classes for his or her students of the camps. The enforcement of such an approach in India's already stratified education sector disrupted the all over normative patterns of schooling. This was found by the Organization of Research Foundation India. Although provisions were made in government schools to conduct the classes, existing fault lines between rural and concrete, male and feminine, rich and poor, they were ignored. Sahu, he analyzed in his own study that online teaching shift that will it be persisted post pandemic. However, the shift to online mode has raised many queries on the standards of education. It was observed by the Sahu in his study. Adnan and Anwar Arhand et al., Kedraka and Kaltidas Mehendi points out that the net education developed physical problems like headaches, backache, eye strain, and ear pain among students because of the excess use of laptops, smartphones, and earplugs for remote learning classes. A study titled Myths of Online Education, conducted by researchers at Azim Premji University, Bangalore, found that online education is ineffective and inadequate for college children participants. Now, the research approach. For this research, a survey research methodology was explored to find the online learning impact, questionnaire through Google Form technology, interviews face-to-face and telephonic, quantitative and qualitative approach, to check the insights of students and teachers on online teaching learning approaches, to find out the connection between students and teachers' use of online platforms and also the impact, and convenience sampling technique was used. Then the objective was to draw a whole picture of online teaching learning activities during the first wave of COVID-19 pandemic, to stipulate the importance of manual teaching learning process in education system and to beat the persisting academic disturbance, to examine the impact of technological apps over the way students and teachers view online teaching during the COVID-19 pandemic, to examine how students use EDFs within the most affected region vis-a-vis Jammu and Kashmir by way of shutdowns, post abrogation of Article 13370 and then COVID-19 pandemic, to examine the way students from JNK incorporate these technological innovations as essential tools for online learning. These were our objectives. And these are some online platforms that have been chosen randomly: Byju's, Coursera, Zoom Cloud, Google Meet, Vedantu. And these are 5 professional apps. These have been chosen randomly: LinkedIn, Grade, Learning, Upgrade, Henry Haven, UX Rater, Future Learn. And then what were the challenges of online learning? Challenges, however, are everywhere and in every field. Students from Jammu and Kashmir were without reliable internet access and or technology. They struggle to participate in digital learning. This gap is seen across countries, and in India, it is seen within the states and union territories. The study scenario amidst COVID-19 on ground situations and possible solutions was conducted by child rights NGO Smile Foundation with an aim of analyzing the access to technology. The findings of the study showed that 43.99% of the surveyed children have access to smartphones with internet access, and 56% have either basic phones or don't have access to basic phones in the least. Then these were our findings. Challenge of online learnings in JNK. The survey done by the researchers for the aim of the study in Jammu and Kashmir shows in table that among respondents who use home broadband, over 35% face cable cuts, 25% face poor connectivity, and 32% face signal issues. Just in case of mobile data, 80.2% face poor mobile connectivity thanks to 2G, and 19.6% face signal issues. In Jammu and Kashmir, students hardly access online classes because a government order then restricted network connectivity to 2G rather than 4G. It has been also found that only 15% students in Jammu and Kashmir have reliable internet access. The results of survey first are: out of 100 randomly selected students across 10 districts of Jammu and Kashmir, 56% were found of getting basic know-how of operating smartphone education apps. 70% of the students find the apps trustworthy and reliable in terms of privacy and encryption. Only 25% feel online teaching an honest opinion and desire that online teaching should continue. However, 95% of teachers have knowledge of operating various educational apps, and 90% teachers find these apps trustworthy. Only 35 teachers feel online teaching is an honest option and desire that online teaching should continue. However, a serious chunk of 65% feel emotional and communication disconnect with the students. This is the result of survey second. The closure of schools has led to 90% mental disturbance among students, while as 40% teachers are affected by the same. 95% of students feel that schools should be reopened, and 89% of teachers feel that schools should be reopened. And finally, coming to the discussion and conclusion, teachings can no rely on traditional classrooms to achieve constituents. According to findings, teachers and students find the online teaching and learning not up to the mark. This certainly demands the reopening of faculties, schools, colleges, and universities. When online teaching learning may indeed be breaking boundaries and providing extensive access to other lives, teachers don't seem to be comfortable with the students studying the identical way ordinary students study. Students want their schools to be reopened, and if the identical shutdown of faculties continue, it will lose credibility and trust and can increase in mental trauma among the younger generation. Younger generations accept modern learning approaches with barely a difficulty because they are applied earlier and in grammar school to advanced technologies. Except the technological innovations, the real essence of visiting school, interacting with fellow students, the vast space or environment can never replace the net meetings and classes. The fundamental problems in Jammu and Kashmir are less availability of electronic devices like laptops, smartphones, computers, and tablets, with the students which are compulsory for online courses, limited or no access to internet, high cost of mobile internet packages or broadband connections, interruption in online classes due to low speed or no speed of the net, and frequent power cut problem in the rural or town areas. The unsatisfactory admittance to technical devices and also the internet obstruct the particular purpose of learning through online classes and cause a digital divide in education. These authors have pointed out in their studies that net education developed physical problems like headaches, backache, eye strain, and ear pain among students because of the excess use of laptops, smartphone, and earplug for remote learning classes. Due to the explanations and issues discovered over the course of this research paper, online classes seem too dull, uninteresting, unattractive, unsatisfactory, and ineffective to the participants during this study, and that they preferred conventional or manual classes over online classes. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So now I request Vijay Chandra Bora to present his paper. Vijay Chandra Bora is a research scholar from Singhania University, Jhunjhunu, Rajasthan. His topic is work-life balance of tea garden workers. Vijay Chandra Bora, sir, are you listening? Vijay Chandra Bora, sir. Yes, Nikhil Tarar, sir. Are you say something? Have you have raised your hand, Nikhil Tarar? Okay, Vijay Chandra Bora, are you listening? No. Kiran Kumar God. Yes, Vijay Chandra Bora. Vijay Chandra Bora, you present your paper. Vijay Chandra Bora, not listen. There's a technical problem. Kiran Kumar God.
Vinay, I think I think there is some network issue, and I don't think that we are getting his voice.
Okay.
So you should proceed.
Michael, are you ready for your presentation?
Michelle, I'm Michelle, sir. Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, Michelle. Yes, Michelle.
Can I share the presentation?
Yeah, this is your floor. Okay, welcome.
Is it visible? Hello?
Yes.
Is my presentation visible, sir?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Continue.
A very good evening to the esteemed guests there.
Michelle, we can see this.
Especially respected Ritu Sood, Dean of SMFE. My topic for today is parental mediation of smartphone usage amongst the teenage students of NCR Delhi. As we are all well aware, that smartphones today have turned into inevitable gadgets with the multiple uses that they provide, from communication, education, business, shopping to entertainment and more. So while the smartphone is a boon for many of us, it has also turned into a bane, with children, teenagers, and adults getting addicted to its various applications. So in the case of children or teenagers, parents need to intervene through various restrictions, instructions, or monitoring of the smartphone usage to alleviate the negative influence of media. This process is called parental mediation. The definition of which it means that it includes the initiatives, steps, and measures taken by parents to mitigate the negative effect of media usage in the lives of their children. Due to shortage of time and just 4 minutes, I have condensed the entire presentation. The research objectives: to study if parents are aware of what their teenage children from classes 10 to 12 use their smartphone for. The second question. The second objective, to recognize the various types of mediation techniques that parents employ in mitigating the negative impact of smartphone usage by their teenage children in NCR Delhi. For a better understanding of this topic and to achieve these objectives, we need to understand the different types of mediation that parents employ. The first mediation is restrictive mediation, where parents use rules, during meals, or tell them, okay, don't use your smartphone during meals or while they're doing their homework. Don't talk online with strangers, or cut off timings at night, like after 10:30, no use. Or some parents even use parental controls or software in their children's phones, or make adjustments in the privacy settings. These are all types of restrictive mediations. Then active mediation or evaluative or instructive mediation, it means that parents kindly or in a very loving manner discuss with children and explain to them, the harms and the benefits that come out of using a smartphone and how they should be careful, but in a very nice manner. Monitoring mediation means that parents realize that children may be exposed to dangers, or children are doing something naughty sometimes. So they keep monitoring their children. They may check the websites they access, or they may check the social media platforms they access, or what they are using their phone for, the apps that they have downloaded, the games that they have downloaded, etc. Another usage is co-use mediation, where children and parents together maybe play games or sometimes surf, or the parents teach them to surf together. So it's called co-use. Role modeling mediation basically means that parents actually are role models for their children. So role modeling mediation refers to teens imitating their parents. So if parents are addicted to media, then it could be possible that children too get addicted to media. If parents are cautious, the children too will turn cautious. So based on these definitions, the methodology that was used in this paper was quantitative methodology. It was a printed, planned survey questionnaire method. Likert scales were used for the answering technique. The non-probability convenience sampling was used for the data collection, as all the classes from 10 to 12 standard were visited with due permission from the school authorities, and all the available students were given the survey questionnaire to be filled manually. The data analysis was done on the IBM SPSS software to generate the frequency percentages and graphs. Outcome. With reference to the objective 1, almost 43.1% students said that they use smartphones excessively. 20 children have been cheated on apps, 26 have purchased online without permission from their parents, 31 had spoken to random online strangers, 59.4% accepted the fact that they had an impact on their temper when being disturbed while using apps on their smartphones. And this was not related to homework, random apps, or maybe while they were surfing. Out of 160 students, 30 were accessing porn, 39 were prone to trolling, and 55 students were stalking or privately following other pictures. However, despite many such problems, when being asked, the 31.9%, or you could say 32, almost 32, out of 160, 32% out of 160 students said that their parents were not aware at all of what they used their smartphones for. With regard to objective 2, the mediations that were occurring in NCR Delhi was primarily restrictive mediation, where around 60% parents used restrictive mediations of, maybe no mobile usage during their meals or not during homework and things like that. Active mediation, 49.4%. Monitoring mediations was a whopping 66.9%. That means parents in India do monitor their children, and this was a big number as compared to many of the researches which were done internationally in this field. Co-usage, 39.4%. Parents perform co-usage and surf together with their children. 36.9 parents did not co-use, while 20.6 parents did so on very, very rare occasions. Role modeling. 103 teenagers opined that their parents were not addicted to smartphone. Others reported that their parents were addicted to gaming habits, making videos, social networking platforms, smartphone usage during meals, and 30% were always on their smartphone due to their jobs, even when at home. A majority of the children said that their parents mostly use their smartphone for communicating with relatives. So in conclusion, at least 50% parents are yet to train their children about netiquette or cyberbullying and the problems that exist due to excessive smartphone usage. The numbers could be worse in village surroundings where not all the parents are digitally literate. While 50 to 60% parents are using parental mediation, many of our children are still lacking in parental mediation, which has become an important part of their life's training. This study suggests media education and media training based on uses and the abuses of media usage, not just for parents, but also parents, not just for students, but also parents who are basically digital immigrants and not as media savvy as their generation today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Michelle. This is a wonderful presentation by you. Thank you, Amit sir. You are also one co-author of this paper. Now, I request Kiran Kumar God, Vijay Chandra Bora. Kiran Kumar God, are you listening me? Kiran Kumar God, please unmute yourself. Kiran Kumar God, are you listening me? Vijay Chandra Bora, there is technical problem with Vijay Chandra Bora. Kiran God, sir, may you present your paper? Kiran God, sir.
Some technical problem, Vinny sir. Kiran Kumar Good or जो है
Vijay Chandra Bora. Okay. Yasika Jaggi is here? No. Sunetra Saha is no. Okay. So now I come to next point because there are no presentation. So I request our guest of honor. I request a special guest, Mr. Nikhil Tarar, sir, to convey your thoughts with us and all our research scholars. Nikhil Tarar, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Myself is Nikhil Tarar and I'm currently working with mapping skills as a data scientist. So the college give me the opportunity, call me and the participant present the paper well. The paper is very well formed. So please keep it up and well perform in your future. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you, Nikhil sir. Now I request our guest of honor, Mr. Gautam Gopal sir, Director BD and Marketing Talent Pleasure. Please give your ideas, your consult for 2 minutes.
Well, thank you. Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So first of all, thank you for calling me for this good presentation. It was definitely a nice presentation and efforts by the three participants, which I saw. Well, talking about innovation, innovation is a very, very necessary feature where you try to grow from what you are at present and what exactly happens here. So what exactly innovation does? So innovation, while you are using innovation or innovation is taking place, there are two things which happens in the process side. That is, either the cost will go down or the time will go down. So an innovation is not going to be considered as a good innovation if you cannot cut down, the costing or the time of the process side. And while you do this, the result side, which is the outcome of any process, should remain the same or should increase in benefit. So that's where the innovation comes into the place. And innovation is not something which has been happening, recently. It's been happening since ages and years long. Like, let's talk about how did a wheel came into picture, or how did fire came into the picture. So somehow someone really thought that this is not the right way of, rotating a wheel. A wheel, right from a rock ball, has become into, kind of a wheel which is a tire, and we all see those Formula One races and all. The same thing happens in all innovation. Now the entire thing is, had been, packaged into digital form now. So everything which we see in a digital form, and innovation in digital form has really become a very important thing. So doing the data recreation, how quickly can you really find some sense out of the data which you have really got, is where the innovation comes. Things have really been changing very strongly. Smartphone used to be one distractor at one good time, now has become an essential tool for research work. Computer and most of these things, we cannot really imagine a research without these equipments which we have in our hands. And it's always going to grow better, and as you can see during the pandemic, there is hardly anyone who would have gone out of their home but have managed getting so much of data through the technological intervention which they've used. And this is something which is definitely going to grow as the year progresses, because new normal is definitely going to be different from the present. And as the second presenter from Jammu and Kashmir has talked about, he used a very good terminology, which was citizenship journalism. Now, citizenship journalism is a good thing as well, and it's a bad thing as well. You cannot really say that it's a only pros, not a con. It is a con as well, because what about the fake news? People are really worried about one, nasty thing which is happening over the digital front, and that's this thing where you talk about fake news. So this is really bothersome thing, and citizen journalism, I think that is not really the right picture. And the third presenter, Michelle, has talked about how parenting should be done. Michelle, I just wanted to ask one question from you. How do you see this app locker? Which parentism does it go into? Like, is it restrictive, active?
I beg your pardon, sir?
App lockers. There are app lockers which just allows a few apps to operate on your smartphone or your computer. So how do you think that parenting is? Like, what kind of a restriction is that? What kind of parenting is that?
That comes under technical restriction mediation, sir. That comes under, because of 4 minutes, I couldn't explain that. Restrictive mediation comes under 5 types. So one of the mediations is technical mediation, where the parents use parental apps to block certain websites and be protective of their children.
So that would come into restrictive, or should it come into
restrictive,
active?
sir? Restrictive. It comes under restrictive.
Fine. So that is where I mean to say that digital itself, in the digital world itself, you'll get a lot of answers. All that you have to do is to be smart enough to understand how the progression is going ahead, and you'll have to utilize the existing resources in such a way that you get the final outcome in such a way where the yield is increased. Again, innovation is something where the cost goes down, time goes down for the process, and the outcome should be either equal or should go up. So that is where the innovation is actually considered as to be a good innovation, rather than just doing any change which can increase the outcome is not to be considered as innovation. So we have to be very, very judgmental and very, very judicious in understanding what we what terminology which we use for innovation. Are we using innovation as a like a blank thing, which anyone can use as a thing which can be used? Because most of the innovation has really become a very commonly misused word. Anything you do different, you call it as innovation, but that's not exactly the innovation. For innovation, you'll have to really plan good and have to execute in a proper way to call it as an innovation on the very first place. It was a nice presentation. Again, thank you for calling me.
Thank you. Before we going to Ritu ma'am, now I request all the presenters, all the attendees, who, if you have any question, you can ask. You have to raise your hand and you can ask question. And mic is also open for all, and camera is also. You can mute yourself and you can on your video. Any question? Yes, Rakesh Dubey sir. Rakesh Kumar Dubey sir, you can ask question and you can unmute yourself.
Yeah. First of all, good evening to all, and congratulations, Dr. Vinit, to moderate a good session on the media and innovation. And there are so many good paper presentation. So from my side, thank you to all and congratulations. My question is, as Mr. Gautam is talking about the citizenship journalism and the innovation, so I'm agree with that point. The innovation with the good motto, because Indian ethos is talking about always the good for the society. Because from the earlier age and the earliest ancient India, we are thinking about the thing which is good for the society is only should be acceptable in our society. So that how I am ready. I agree with him. But what is the question about the citizenship journalism? Citizen journalism or citizenship journalism? Whatever the person who presented in his presentation from Jammu and Kashmir. So I think citizen journalism should also have some ethics, some moral in media study. As we know, there are some ethics for every wings of the journalism. So I think there is no question with the citizenship journalism, sir. So please, if you explain, it's my humble request with due respect and due permission, sir.
Well, I don't know whether it was directed to me or not, but I would like
Yeah,
to take
it's you.
this point. Yeah, thank
Yeah,
you.
it's you. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. So talking about, ethos and ethics, and of course we know that India is, bound by a lot of good rituals, and people over here are considered to be honest. But that's not the ground reality. We'll have to accept that the ground reality is really different from what we assume at the top level. So what's happening is that now everyone has got an access to, let's talk about Facebook. Facebook has got around 245 crores of active monthly users across the world. Instagram has got around 165 crores of active monthly users across the world. When you talk about LinkedIn, there are 70 crores of active monthly users across the world. Oh, and opening an account on all these fronts is all that you need is a smartphone and a few, you should understand English. That's it. So now you got an access to Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Anyone sitting at, Jammu and Kashmir, or he's sitting in a Kanyakumari, he has the same access to the same people. So you can just not really control everyone's ethics, because that's something which is a different ball game altogether. You cannot really question someone's ethics. You cannot really say that his ethics is correct or not. And someone like, everyone has got his own perspective. Like if Narendra Modi, Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi speaks something, it is taken into different forms altogether. So when fake news comes into the picture, that's something which is really harming the branding of any product. Like when you talk about India, we want India to become a global, platform for everyone to really look at. But the fact of the matter, like let's take the Corona phase, when wave 2 was at its peak, and everything, deaths were happening at a fall of a hat. But the world was seeing a different picture, and we were seeing a different picture altogether. So that's where the media, and that's where the social media in particular really plays a big role. And when you give a right to anyone to go to such a big platform and write whatever they feel like, will definitely call for a somehow a restriction on the as we call it as citizenship journalism. It's not actually very fruitful for, somehow we have to think, say, I'm not against citizenship journalism whatsoever. Anything is happening anywhere, and if it's been presented in the right form, nothing better than that. But not always is it what this is going to happen. So what do we have as a plan B for it? How are we going to restrict the fake news in the world of social media? How we have to put some kind of a restriction, and that is something which is missing for now. I don't know in future how are we really going to curb this fake news problem. But fake news problem is really disturbing the entire world very badly. So there has to be something, a very, very strict norm where you cannot really spread any kind of a fake news. But that's not really going to happen, because even media of ours, like there are so many, news channel who speaks different, on different tones. So you cannot really control anyone's expression, and hence the fake news will definitely be in the market. The only thing which you can do to avoid a fake news is you have to really resort to the authentic source which people are really considering. And of course, during the research time as well, people who have really done the research would have definitely gone through the authentic sources to really find those numbers, and they're doing their own kind of a data crunching, which is definitely going to be good. So that's my take on citizenship journalism is. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Gautam sir. If any question now, no, there is no question. So now I request Honorable Ritu Sood ma'am to give some motivation to us. Ma'am, unmute yourself. Ma'am, you are muted. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much, IIMT and your entire team, for inviting me for the National Conference of Innovation in Management Technology and Communication. It's a very innovative topic and a very relevant topic today. And as I was going through Umar Iqbal's digital learning due to breakout in COVID, COVID just happened, and all of a sudden we were online platform. The teachers were not equipped, nobody was equipped, and sitting in Delhi, yes, situation is very good, but sitting in a place like Kashmir, I know I have faculties from Kashmir, and you can understand the challenges you faced while disseminating your classes or messages or whatever. The networks is not working. So it was a very, very interesting topic. And of course, from Michelle is our student, so I will obviously praise her. I will not I will encourage her. I will not praise her. At the same time, she has been working very hard on her PhD. So, Michelle, good job. And I would like to put in from a journalist and a filmmaker's perspective of citizen journalism, as we were discussing. I have been part of a lot of international networks, and we spoke about citizen journalism when I think half of you were not born. And this is the time in the late 90s when the mobile and the this thing had come up, and I was with NHK in Tokyo, and there was citizen journalism, because as a journalist I could not reach where we used to go. If there was a Bamyan in Buddha is being exploded, or there's some bomb blast or some news which needs to be uploaded right now. Or let's take the example when Babri Masjid demolition, I was right there at that time, and we used to have satellite phones. So that time nobody had mobile phones at that time, but we used to have satellite phones, and NHK was the first one to release the footage. And the footage that you see of close-up of Babri Dome being cut down, that is shot by NHK, and we got a lot of awards and praises for that. So the thing is that citizen journalism today is everybody has got a mobile, everybody's uploading, everybody's sending, so that part of the news reporter becomes very difficult. So what they do is they see this has got the maximum hit, so let's take it up. Like I'll just give you an example of citizen journalism. We had Atrangi shooting in our campus, and we had called the entire Starcast was there, and they were shooting with us, and it was very, very closed, and tight security was there because of the COVID. There was the tight security, and Akshay Kumar was very, very this thing that no shooting is allowed. But being students, everybody uploaded, and what happened? There was no press allowed. But then our students were making news coverage and sending it, and Times of India picked it up, Indian Express picked it up, and Short picked it up. So you can't control it. You cannot control it. So news is what it is. Amit is right here. I mean, he was one of the ones who bought the Trangi team. So the thing is that yes, citizen journalism is very important, because the cameras, where the time the reporter reaches, from a journalist point of view or a filmmaker point of view, it has a lot of meaning to us. And also, Vinitji, thank you so much, because this innovation in management, and your topic is very, very relevant today, because this is what is happening today. The technology is changing, means of communication is changing, the traditional media of television and radio is changing. Everything is on podcast, or we are on OTT platforms, or we are making our own blogs and posting. So things are changing. The entire world has become a global, and together we should be safe, and we should take care of ourselves. Don't go out unless it is uh, very, very essential. So my request to all the researchers and scholars: be safe and rely on the technology for the time being. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I request Pratik sir to give vote of thanks. And before that, I request all of participants to open your video to take a snap for our conference, if possible. Then
thank you, Vinit sir.
okay. Thank you. I welcome all of you. Now, Pratik sir, floor is yours for vote of thanks.
Okay, sir. It is my privilege to have been asked to propose a vote of thanks. I, Pratik Dwivedi, HOD BCom Department, on behalf of IIMT College of Management, on the occasion of Day 1 technical session of National Conference on Innovation in Management, Technology and Communication. Thanks to Honorable MD Sir, Dr. Mayank Agrawal Sir, respected Deputy Director Sir, Dr. Abhinay Bakshi Bhatnagar Sir, Dean BCom Dr. Vibha Singh Madam, Dean BBA BCA Dr. Anshul Sharma Sir, and Dean BGMC Dr. Anil Kumar Nigam. Now I extend my vote of thanks to for today's our most valuable guest, Professor Dr. Today's our most valuable guest, Chief Guest, Professor Dr. Ritu S. Sood, Dean SMFB Sharda University, Greater Noida. Guest of honor, Mr. Gautam Gopal, Director, ED and Marketing Talent Blazer. Special guest, Mr. Nikhil Tahar, Data Scientist, Mapping Skills Private Limited. Thank you all for sparing your valuable time and sharing your valuable thought. Last but not least, I extend my hearty vote of thanks to all the speakers for sparing your time and sharing with your findings with us and opinions at this platform, and all the entire supporting committee. Thank you for organizing this event.
Thank you, Pratik sir. Now I ends this session. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, we will meet tomorrow at 3 p.m.
Thank you once.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.